And as you fail to disarm the bomb, it explodes, killing everyone you've once loved in a fiery death ball. Too much? D&D, a game most of you have probably at least heard of, but for those who don't know, it's a role-playing game where a GM, or Game Master, sets up a story filled with pain, misery, and enough Mountain Dew to drown a World of Warcraft streamer. Then, a group of the GM's friends, or the party, come together to use their imagination to act out the story through the characters they make.
That sounds pretty geeky.
It may sound geeky, but actually it's pretty geeky. But we here at Bagpiper Studios have neither the funds nor the interest to go out and socialize to get this game, so I made L&L. It's basically D&D, but for people who don't want to go out of the house or talk to other people. So why is my game so obviously superior? Well, it's obviously all homebrew, so I wrote everything here and I made up all the rules, so I don't want to hear anything in the comments about how, "Oh, I do believe that in the official 3.5 handbook there is a rule regulating how many times you can use thy enemy's arm as a slapping weapon." I just wanted to do a voice. So gather around, children, and let me spin you a tale of wonder and wumbo. This story takes place in the realm of Svenja, a continent comprised of monsters and whiteout, because I use Sharpie instead of pencil. I'll introduce the characters first, so the story makes a little bit more sense. Firstly, we have on the far left the cute little pink bear. The party stopped by at this sort of like a magic flea market kind of thing, and got him from one of the guys there. The shelves in his stall were filled with a bunch of weird knickknacks, and the guy behind the counter told them that they can't get the bear wet, or feed him after midnight, wrong script. Okay. He called the bear the Teddy of Evil, and they didn't know what that meant until he got threatened, and, Okay. Then we had Mordred the Unshakable, a paladin played by Go Easy on the Noob, and by the way, he did not look like that at the start of the game. Now, Mordred's character was special because he made me wish for the sweet release of death. Just for some context, when making your character, you get 10 skill points to add to 6 main traits: strength, charisma, dexterity, intellect, constitution, and wisdom. You can divvy up these points among any of the stats as you please. After that, you can further increase your stats with abilities, like stealth giving you +2 to your dexterity and democracy giving you +2 to charisma, etc. Failure to set limits on this was my downfall. Here's what happened. Firstly, I'm going to put all 10 of my skill points into charisma, allowing myself to get +10 off the bat. Then, because I'm a paladin, I get +2 for being nice to people, giving me +12 to my rolls. Then I'm going to get 3 levels of, diplomacy using my abilities, allowing me to get +18 in my rolls. So, because the rules are so haphazardly put together without another thought, I can justifiably circumvent the plot by being nice to people. Then we have Freya, an NPC Go Easy on the Noob made to be Mordred's sort of protector/helper, because he wasn't very smart, but she mostly just spent all her time laughing at his critical fails. Next we have Muffet the Spider-Person, played by Wombloyer. You may have seen Wombloyer in a few of our other stuff. Hold on, let me pull up IMDb. Yeah, he was in Puberty as the Stickerer, but you also may have seen him in the background of a bunch of our other videos that he wasn't actually supposed to be in. And last, but definitely not least, we have Globby the Garden Gnome, the focus of today's story. Now, Globby was a bard, but a garden gnome bard, and as you may or may not know, bards use instruments as weapons. What was his? Just the biggest tub of mayo you've ever seen. And yes, mayo's an instrument. All you pro Squidward people can fight me. I can't even pretend to be threatening. Anyways. Their mission, if they chose to accept it, was to gather up 5 artifacts from around Svenja and use them to defeat a giant beast. So far, out of the 5, they had these 2 and were looking to get this one, Fonlin's Talisman. Along the way, they found a few new people who were added to the party, such as this dragon person, Julian Charkov, 3 brutes hypnotized by Globby to be his servants, he thusly named Fee-Fi-Info, and the Rook of Ravenfall, a bird anarchist who led an army of bird people who were pretty handy. After a quick powwow with their new friends/army, they found out that the talisman was in Jindan, a kingdom not far from them. So they concocted a plan. They were going to sneak in through the front gates, And while one group caused a distraction in the courtyard, a second group would use alleys to sneak to the vault, while the first group was fighting with the guards. Then they would both skedaddle.
It was so simple and airtight, I thought it was going to be quick and boring.
Step 1, sneak in. They knew there was a caravan scheduled to ship trade goods into the castle that day, so they decided to kill all the traders and go in disguised. Step 2, blow up the barracks as a distraction. This actually went surprisingly well. They then split up into two groups. Globby the Brutes, Julian the Rook and his army all stayed to fight off the guards, while Mordred, Freya, her bear, and Muffet snuck around back to snatch the talisman. Unfortunately, the group that stayed to fight was a tad bit outnumbered, and so the battle began. And then it all spirals downwards from there! Globby then enters the fray, and from this point on, the whole battlefield looks like the aftermath of Hiroshima if Little Boy had been filled with mayonnaise. Now, I don't like restricting my players too much from their own creative liberty. I feel like non-linear actions, if you will, are more fun in the game, but I do have to keep everything running by my handcrafted rules that have severe power balancing issues. But I often like to let players do illogical things that don't always comply with the rules. Which some could argue worked in this case. So Globby entered the battle, and immediately used his mayo to surround his group of attackers so all the guards that would run in would caution wet floor guys slip onto their backs, and then the party could just come in and clean them up with some good old stabby stabs. But then Jin Dan sent out archers, and Globby's brutes didn't have any ranged weapons. So you know what he had his brutes do? Well, only the most obvious solution to the problem. He starts sending his brutes out into the Mayo to grab the beaten up, in-pain soldiers, and he has them just start yeeting them at the other guards. It's funny because it hurts. You remember that scene in Lord of the Rings where the orcs of Mordor are attacking Minas Tirith, but they're using the heads of dead Minas Tirith soldiers as catapult ammo? Comparatively, that was more humane. At least those guards were dead. But it gets worse. All the dead bodies that were around? Yeah, he had his brutes use them as armor. He used his mayonnaise as glue and stuck them onto his brutes. So now we had big guys, covered in dead guys, chucking live guys. Okay, step 3, get the talisman. A few unholy charisma rolls against guards later, they got to the talisman in the vault. So they quickly snatched it up and got out of there. But all the guards that they had diverted, yeah, they went to the fight. So now there's a whole new group of guards angry at their burning barracks, ready to kill Group 1. So Julian made the sacrifice no others wanted to make. He said his goodbyes and ran into the group of badly copy and pasted guards. And well, all that was left was step 4, skedaddle. They safely got away thanks to Julian's sacrifice and ran all the way home to the Rook's fortress. And with that, they once again got away, leaving their calling card of pain, death, and misery. Another victory for the good guys.